The success of your legal practice is going to depend on several things, but one of the most important is how you show up in those moments when you are not getting ready to send a bill. Well, let me explain. Well, welcome to Legal Marketing Minutes, where I share short bursts of current marketing news and advice. I'm your host, Nancy Myrland. If we haven't met, I'm a marketing, business development, content, social, and digital media speaker, trainer, and advisor for lawyers and legal marketers. Your time is valuable, so let's get started, okay? I got back from a conference called Tribe in Toronto a couple weeks ago, and one of the speakers was Amy Porterfield, and I know Amy well. I have purchased and taken a handful of her courses on how to, for me, repurpose what I do in person, which are the consulting services I just described to you: marketing, business development, content, social, and digital media, how to also offer those online. And Amy excels in this. So I have studied with Amy for quite a while, and she was one of the speakers, and she was really very good. And yesterday, Stu McLaren, who is the owner of the Tribe brand, and it was his conference, that's another course that I've taken, and he sent out a full replay of her session to everyone who attended. And I was reminded how much I liked what she said, and I want to share it with you. And I want to remind you that just because someone dabbles in or deals in or teaches in a space that doesn't sound like it is remotely connected to the legal profession, I always encourage you to keep an open mind, because my job is to take concepts that are useful in every part of the marketing world and help you apply them to your practice and to growing your practice. So stick with me here. One of the quotes that Amy said that I dearly loved was that she can tell how successful someone's online business is going to be by how they show up when they're not launching. A little bit of explanation there. If you haven't purchased courses online, or if you're not as familiar with this space as I am, which is pretty intimately, I've been studying it for way too long. There are times during the year when online course creators will launch a course or launch a membership site. And there's usually a really big flurry of activity around that time. And we hear from those course creators a lot all of a sudden because they're getting ready to launch. And some are known for only showing up online and only putting themselves out in front of us, those people who should be caring about them, right when they're leading up to a launch. And it's crickets every other time of the year. And that's just not a good way to do business. There are some people in this online space that are really very good at showing up all year. Amy Porterfield, the one whose quote I'm using and am inspired by, is one of those people. I am in a couple different groups on Facebook of Amy's, and I'm on her email list, and probably, yes, I follow her on Instagram. I follow her a lot because I want to soak up her knowledge, and I like her. She is one that I see out there all year. She is sharing her knowledge and her wisdom with her audiences all year. So it's not irritating when she comes close to a launch and we start to hear from her about a course that she is going to be launching online. That's how it should be. Now, here's how this translates to you. Don't let the only time that your clients hear from you all of a sudden be when you're getting ready to send a bill, an invoice. Don't let it be when you know the project is on the line and you're thinking, I haven't been in touch with them lately. I better at least say something and be really pleasant, because I want them to not be shocked when the invoice comes. And, we see this happen sometimes in restaurants, and I know servers can have a bad day, and I'm completely empathetic to that. Being on their feet all day long, often after another job, is not fun. But I've been in restaurants where we have barely had a word from a server, or just somebody who acts like they don't want to be there. And then all of a sudden, when they deliver the bill, the check, they're as nice as can be. And all of a sudden, smiles come. And they're like, oh, thanks so much for, coming in. Was everything okay? And it just seems so oddly placed. And if it just happened once or twice, I wouldn't use that as an example, but I see it happen just a little bit too often. So what I don't want you to do is to be that lawyer, that service provider that shows up only at the most important times when you have a stake in the outcome. So what I want you to do is to rethink how you show up when it's not time for you to sell, or it's not time for business development, and it's not time to bill. And how can you do that? Well, I'm going to break it down into 6 C's. And if you want to write this down, that would be great. Then you can do that. The first one is to communicate. This is all about communicating and communicating regularly. Don't be that lawyer that only comes around once every so often when it's good for you. The next C, number 2, is content. Make sure that you are publishing regular content. And I have several blog posts on my website at myrlandmarketing.com. And as you know, it's MYRLAND marketing.com on content. And content is really just spilling out the contents of your brain, your wisdom, your brilliance in any number of ways. It can be written, it can be online, it can be, via a blog, via a podcast, on a video. It can be in so many different ways, but make sure that you are publishing content on a regular basis so that is in front of people. Number 3, it can be calls. It can be what many would call old school calls. I don't care if they're old school, they can be extremely effective. And when you're making those calls, it's only because you're checking in. And again, this is not close to a time when you're going to invoice or that you want to sell something. This is a call just to check in with somebody, see how they're doing. If you know something about them and you've put notes into your CRM, or maybe you've just put them on a piece of paper on a sticky note that you put somewhere, or you've put them in your calendar, your Google Calendar, your Outlook calendar, whatever you use, you might make a note about something going on with that person. Or if you have a wonderful memory, you might just remember those things about that person or those clients or those potential clients. So give them a call every once in a while. You know what? Break them up. If you're thinking, oh my gosh, I don't have time to call all those people, well, then we have an issue. You need to make time to call those people. They're your clients or your potential clients. And if you can't show those people how much you care, then we have a time and a resource and a time management issue. So go ahead and maybe just put 1 or 2 of those in your calendar once a week and make 5-minute phone calls. Chances are they're not going to answer because they're busy. So it'll just be leaving a message. And that doesn't take much time at all. The 4th C is caring. I always want you to show how much you care. And what I just described a moment ago in the phone call C was that you're just calling to say hello. Show people you care. Show people you have empathy. Ask them what's going on in their business or their life that you need to be aware of, or and don't use this wording, but what's keeping them up at night, what's tying them up in knots, what's getting in the way, and show that you care. The 5th C is consistency. Do all of this with consistency. This is one of the biggest challenges for all of us who have businesses, and no matter how small or how large those businesses are. Your law practice is your business. My company is my business. So consistency and putting out content or calling someone or showing that we care, the consistency is absolutely critical, because then in people's minds, you're there. And when they need you, hopefully you'll be top of mind. And then the last is connection. Find ways to make a connection. Don't be so robotic or so programmed or so scheduled with your communication that people don't feel like they're making a connection with you. Use inflection. Let them see and feel your personality. All right? So again, those C's were communicate, content, calls, caring, consistency, and connection. Well, all right, that's it for today's Legal Marketing Minutes. Do me a favor and let me know your thoughts about this topic and about those C's. If you can leave a comment, please do so, as I'd love to hear from you. If not, you can always find me on my blog at myrlandmarketing.com, MYRLAND marketing.com. Well, thank you so much for spending a few Legal Marketing Minutes with me. I know your time is valuable, so I appreciate you spending a few of them right here. Until next time, I'm Nancy Myrland. Take care.